Hello everyone, myself Vijay Lakra, Assistant Professor, Management Department, Sant College of Higher Education. Today I am going to deliver a lecture which is the continuation of last class recruitment and selection. In the last lecture, we will discuss the recruitment and selection meaning and process of both of them. In today's lecture, we will discuss factor affecting recruitment, sources of recruitment, methods of recruitment, factors affecting selection, and last one is techniques of selection. Now we will start. What are the factors that affect recruitment? There are two types of factor which affect the recruitment. First one is internal factor, second is external factors. What are internal factors? The internal factors are called endogenous factors. These factors are within the organization that affect recruitment personnel in the organization. Internal forces internal forces such the factors which can be controlled by the organization are recruitment policy of the organization, size of organization, human resource planning, cost of recruitment. Now, what are external factors? External factors or forces are the forces which cannot be controlled by the organization. The major external factors are supply and demand, labor market, image and goodwill of the organization, unemployment rate in the economy, competitors in the industry, political, social and legal environment in which an organization will have to survive. Now, sources of recruitment. The searching of suitable candidate and informing them about the opening in the enterprise is the most important aspect of recruitment process. The source of recruitment are broadly classified into two categories. First is internal source, second one is external source. Now what are internal sources? First one is promotion. The promotion policy is followed as a motivational technique for the employees who work hard and show good performance. Promotion result in enhancing in pay, position, responsibility and authority. The important requirement for implementation of a promotion policy is that the term, condition, rule and regulation should be well defined. Now next is retirement. The retired employees may be given the extension in their service in the case of non-availability of suitable candidate for the post. Next is former employees. Former employees who had performed well during their tenure may be called back and higher wages and incentives can be paid to them. Next one is transfer. Employees may be transferred from one department to another department wherever the post become vacant. The next is internal advertisement. The existing employees may be interested in taking up the vacant job as they are working in the company since long time. They know about the specification and description of the vacant job. For their benefit, the advertisement within the company is circulated so that the employees will be intimated. Now next is press advertisement. A wide choice for selecting the appropriate candidate for the post is available through this source. It gives publicity to the vacant post and the detail about the job in the form of job description and job specification are made available to the public in journal. Next is campus interview. It is the best possible method for the company to select students from various educational institutes. It is easy and economical. The company officials personally visit various institutes and select students eligible for a particular post through interview. Students get a good opportunity to prove themselves and get selected for the good job. Next is placement agencies. A data bank of candidates is sent to the organizations for their selection purpose and agencies get commission in return. Next is employment exchange. People register themselves with government employment exchange with their personal detail according to the need and request of the organization. The candidates are sent for interviews. Next is walk-in interviews. These interviews are declared by companies on the specific date and time and conducted for selection. Next is e-recruitment. Various sites such as job.com, naukri.com and monster.com are the available electronic sites on which candidates upload their resume and seek the jobs. Competition. By offering better terms and conditions of the service, the human resource manager try to get the employees working in the competitors organization. Now, methods of recruitment. Recruitment methods refers to the mean by which an organization reaches to the potential job seekers. In other words, these are the way of establishing contact with the potential candidate. It is important to mention that the recruitment methods are different from the source of recruitment. Some of the most important methods of recruitment are as follows. First is direct method. In this method, the representative of the organization are sent to the potential candidates in the education and training institutes. They establish contact with the candidate seeking the institute's person pursuing management, engineering, medical program are mostly pick up in this manner. Next method is indirect method. Indirect method includes advertisement in the newspaper, on the radio and television, in professional journal, technical magazines, etc. This method is useful when organization does not find suitable candidate to be promoted to fill up higher post. Second is when the organization want to reach out a vast territory. And the last one is when organization want to fill up scientific, professional and technical post. And the last method of recruitment is third party method. This method includes the use of private employment agencies, management consultant, professional bodies, associate employees, referral, recommendations, voluntary organizations, trade unions, data bank, labor contractors, etc. to establish contact with the job seekers. Now, now the selection process. What are the factors affect the selection? First is recruitment campaign. A recruitment campaign may attract or detract high quality candidates. This depends on a number of factors, such as if the campaign was targeted at the correct demographic for the position. Second is if the campaign was extensive and reached the correct demographic. And the last one is if the campaign had the right message. Second factor that affect selection is geographical location of the candidate. The geographical location of the candidate may affect the demographic of the candidate, as if you are recruiting from a small and specific geographic location, you may be limiting the diversity of the candidates and missing out a great talent. The next factor is literacy skills of the candidate. As with geographic location, literacy skills varies across applicants. This will ultimately impact their suitability to the job. The next factor is number of candidates applying for a position. The more candidates that apply means a large pool of talent to search within. This then translates to a greater chance of identifying higher quality candidates that are suitable for the role. Next is correct use of assessment. It is critical that the correct assessment is used in order to identify the correct target group. If an assessment is not appropriate for a particular role, then there is a risk of them being rejected when in fact they had the correct skills for the position. Now next factor, attractiveness of the position. Some roles are more attractive than others. The more attractive the role, the more likelihood of attracting high quality candidates. This can include the type of responsibility, the perks, and the culture of the organization. And the next factor is selection process itself. The likelihood of identifying a quality candidate depends on the selection process used. If you follow the best practice method where candidates are assessed at the first selection round and they receive regular feedback during the process, this can increase your chance to find the best candidate for the role. Now, techniques of selection. First is structured interview format. The interview is useful for assessing a candidate's presentation and communication skills, getting to know candidates and assessing cultural fit with the work area. It also allows the candidate to get a more detailed overview of the role they can use in their decision making process. Remember, an interview is a two-way process. The next technique is telephone, video, and Skype interviews. For positions that are likely to attract national or overseas candidate, it may be necessary to conduct initial discussion via phone, video, or Skype. Telephone, video, or Skype interviews are normally used to make a preliminary assessment of a candidate. However, you should also meet the candidate face to face before making final recommendation. Now, next technique is work stimulation. This involves an individual or group of candidates completing exercise that they would be required to undertake as part of the position. For group tasks, candidates are placed in a situation in which the successful completion of a task requires interaction among the participants. In individual exercise, participants complete a task independently. And the next is the leaderless group discussions. This is a simple technique where a group of participants are asked to carry on a discussion about some topics for a specific period of time. For example, performance issues or internal external alliance or relationship. No one is appointed leader and assessor do not participate in the discussion but remain free to observe the rate of performance of each participant. Next technique is lecture or presentation. The assessee These assess a candidate's communication skill and perhaps their expertise on a particular subject. A typical task might involve a candidate preparing and presentation to a selection panel, peer and or a postgraduate student. For example, for an academic position, a lecture or presentation of research or teaching would be appropriate. The next one is planning exercise. These test the candidate's ability to prioritize, plan activities, schedule and allocate resources and adapt to last minute change. This allows assessor to evaluate a candidate's skills and attributes in planning and judgment. Exercise might involve providing the candidate with some information about a typical project and asking them to draft a project plan or schedule determining a budget or allocated resources. Now we will discuss the difference between recruitment and selection. Recruitment, it involves it is an activity of establishing contact between employer and the applicants. In selection, it is the process of picking up more competent and suitable employees. In recruitment, it encourages large number of candidates for the job. In selection, it attempts at rejecting unsuitable candidates. Now the next is the candidate have not to cross over many hurdles, but in selection, a candidate have to cross many hurdles. In recruitment, it is a positive approach. Selection is a negative approach. And the last one is it proceeds selection. In selection, it follow recruitment. This is all about recruitment and selection. Thank you. Thank you so much.